Good day everyone. We are the group 5. For our presentation for today is all about Phylum Annelida.
What is Phylum Annelida? Phylum Annelida is a very broad phylum belonging to the kingdom Animalia. The annelids are found in aquatic as well as terrestrial environments. These are bilaterally symmetrical invertebrate organisms. Their segmented body distinguish them from any other organisms. Here are some examples of Phylum Annelida. Characteristics of Phylum Annelida. Number 1, the annelids are coelomate and tripoblastic. The body of annelids is segmented. Annelids are tripoblastic, meaning 3 germ layers are present and possess a true coelom. Number 2, they exhibit organ system level organization. Number 3, their body is segmented. The annelids include earthworms, polychaete worms, and leeches. All members of the group are to same extent segmented. Number 4, they respire through their body surfaces. Respiration in annelids occurs primarily through their moist skin, although certain species have evolved specialized gills or use paired projections called paraphodia in gas exchange. The annelid excretory system consists of pair nephridia found in each segment which function in excreting nitrogenous waste. Number 5, nephridia are the excretory organs. In annelids, the excretory organs are nephridia. Nephridia is an excretory organ which removes nitrogenous waste from the body cavity and expels them to the pores outside the body. Number 6, they have a well-developed circulatory and digestive system. Annelids have a well-developed closed circulatory system, one in which blood is limited to vessels that is segmentally arranged. They also have a complete one-way digestive tract with a mouth and anus. Number 7, their body contains hemoglobin which gives them the red color. Number 8, regeneration is a very common characteristic of annelids. Regeneration of most annelids occur by epimorphosis involving cell proliferation and the formation of a blastema, a mass of undifferentiated cells. Number 9, setae help them in the movement. Annelid setae are stiff bristles present on the body. Number 10, most of the annelids are hermaphrodite. Male and female organs are present in the same body. They both sexually and asexually. The other reproduce sexually. The specialty of annelids regarding reproduction is that they can reproduce sexually or asexually depending upon their species. What is the annelid symmetry? Annelids vary in structure depending on their class, environment, and whether they are free-moving or sedentary. Most annelids have segmented bodies, a body cavity called coelom, and setae hairs along the body. Annelids also possess bilateral symmetry, meaning they can be cut in half lengthwise into symmetrical halves, although the internal structures of annelids vary greatly depending on the species and the organism specific niche. The structures have some broad similarities.
The germs. Annelids are tripoblastic, having all 3 germ layers as blastocysts. Species within Phylum Annelida have 3 body layers: the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. Ectoderm is formed in the outer surface of the animal and the nervous system. Mesoderm forms in the middle of the layers of the organism, including muscle and circulatory tissues. Endoderm forms the gut. Annelids are coelomate animals. They have fluid-filled body cavity in which gut and other organs are suspended. The coelom of an annelid is a large space in which the internal organs form. Since the body is segmented, the coelom is segmented too.
Annelida skeleton. Although annelids possess a skeleton, it is a very different from a human structural skeleton. Worms do not have any bones, so a worm skeleton most consists of something different. All annelids possess a hydroskeleton. A hydroskeleton or hydrostatic skeleton. It is a type of internal skeleton structure where water or fluid is kept under constant pressure, creating a rigid body without any bones. Annelid worms have what is known as a hydrostatic skeleton or hydroskeleton. This kind of skeleton is based on the Greek root hydro meaning water A hydrostatic organ and the hydrostatic skeleton may have the same capabilities, but they are not the same. Hydrostatic organs are more common in advanced organisms, while hydrostatic skeleton are more common in primitive organisms. So what does a water-based or liquid-based skeleton look and behave like? In annelid worms, there are two internal hollow body cavities known as coelomata. The coelomata are surrounded by a ring of muscles which contract to move the supportive xylem fluid inside each cavity. Think of a small donut inside of another bigger donut. That's the mental image of xylem spaces with fluid in between. This interaction between the xylem fluid and the outer muscles produces hydrostatic pressure. Pressure caused by fluid or water, which is why an earthworm or leech is not completely flat, therefore supported by this strange liquid-based skeleton, which is not all our own skeleton. We humans do, however, have a xylem to ours is full of our organs and organ cavities. Perhaps worms and humans aren't too different after all. You can see the diagram of Phylum Annelida skeletal.
Nervous system of Annelida. The Annelida nervous system generally includes a brain and a nerve cord that spans the length of the worm and allows signal to travel from the brain to the body and from sensory receptors to the brain. Annelids have a variety of sensory receptors to provide information about the external environment. On their heads, annelids have eyes, antennae, and palps, appendages near the mouth for touch and taste. The brain. The nervous system of the Annelida species form a small brain-like structure right near the mouth end. The leeches and earthworm have similar nervous system where a ganglia structure is present. It is a concentration of nerve tissues and endings developed to control psychological functions. Sensory nerves. The sensory nerves are segmented and differentiated into a ventral nerve cord and transverse connectives. The pair of ventral nerve cords extend till the posterior end of the Annelida earthworms. Every segment in the body contains a swelling or collection of nerve endings to form a ganglion. These ganglions are the meeting points of the transverse connectives and the ventral nerve cords. The most prominent among these ganglions are anterior and subpharyngeal are the most prominent ones. The neural systems of marine annelids differ somewhat from those of terrestrial and freshwater annelids. Since polychaetes have a primitive brain that is differentiated into forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain, they have a more intricate system that demonstrates how the system evolved across the animal kingdom. The function of the nervous system of Annelida. The land and marine annelids' basic neural system enable them to move. The majority of annelids that live on land move as a result of the segment muscles' coordinated construction and relaxation. The motion of the leeches and earthworms may have caught your attention. While the remainder of them lengthens, a portion of them contracts. They can pick up speed or squeeze hard as an evasive maneuver when they sense danger. Predatory marine annelids, on the other hand, have quick reflexes. When prey is within range, the nervous system aids in the detection and capture of the prey. Here is the example of nervous system of the annelid. We have cerebral ganglia, mouth, circumesophageal connective, subesophageal ganglion, and the ventral nerve cord.
Annelids digestive system. Annelids have a complete digestive system with the mouth and anus. Annelida digestive systems are structured as long tube complete with multiple specialized digestive compartments, starting at the mouth and ending at the anus. Some types of marine tube worms, however, do not have a working digestive system and instead rely on mutualistic bacteria that live inside their bodies to break down food into nutrients for them. The internal organs of annelid are well developed. They include a close, segmentally arranged circulatory system, Since an annelid segments contain the same organs as all the others, there is a little need for a very specialized digestion system. Instead, the digesting occurs through a long tube that extends from the mouth to the anus. It is held in the center of the worm as one continuous structure. The tube itself is unsegmented, unlike the worm's outside structure. Basically, you can think of a worm's digestive tract as similar in scope to humans or maybe even better a bird's digestive system.
Circulatory system of Phylum Annelida. Phylum Annelida has a closed circulatory system. It means that the blood stays inside vessels and circulates throughout the body of organism. Annelid circulatory system includes five main parts: the dorsal blood vessel, the five aortic arcs, a ventral blood vessel, a lateral blood vessels, and capillaries. Dorsal blood vessel runs along the top or dorsal side of the worm. Aortic arcs. These five pairs are lined up in a row and serve as earthworm hearts. Each of these aortic arcs branches of the dorsal blood vessels and wraps around the esophagus until joining the ventral blood vessel. Ventral blood vessel runs along the bottom or ventral side of the worm. Lateral blood vessels run from the dorsal vessel to the ventral vessel near the digestive tract. Capillaries, small blood vessels that branch off the larger blood vessel. Blood is composed of fluid plasma and colorless blood. Annelid's blood is red because of the presence of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin occurs dissolved in plasma.
Respiratory system of Annelida. Annelida do not have a respiratory system but rather perform gas exchange using diffusion. Annelida respiration mainly consists of gas exchange through the skin, although some annelids have developed gills or specialized projections called parapodia that helps facilitate gas exchange. Although oxygen can travel through the blood directly, it is typically delivered through a pigment involved in breathing. Most free-moving and some sedentary polychaete, as well as most oligochaetes and leeches, have hemoglobin, the most prevalent pigment in their blood. Chlorochlorine is a form of hemoglobin that has less affinity for oxygen than hemoglobin, and is green is diluted solutions and red is concentrated ones. So here's the example of how earthworm and pumpyworm do breathing. Annelids usually breathe through their skin, though some aquatic examples have simplified gills. For a surface to be good for respiration, it must be moist, like the inside lining out of lungs, so even terrestrial annelids are a bit wet to the touch.
Annals excretory. In annelids, the excretory organs are nephridia. Nephridia is an excretory organ which remove nitrogenous waste from the body cavity outside the body. And also, in nephridia, there are three main types, which is pharyngeal nephridia, integumentary nephridia, and septal nephridia. Pharyngeal nephridia. Pharyngeal nephridia lie in three paired tufts, one on either side of the anterior region of the alimentary canal in the segment 4th, 5th, and 6th. The tuft of pharyngeal nephridia also contains blood glands. In integumentary nephridia, in each segment of the body, from 7th to the last segment, numerous nephridia are found attached inside the lining of the body wall. And the last one, septal nephridia. These are found situation on the intersegmental septum between 5th and 6th, the segments to the posterior inside of the body. Structure. Septal nephridia may be considered typical of the nephridia of parenchyma. Each septal nephridium consists of nephrostome, neck, body of nephridium, and the terminal duct. Nephridia also have a function. Main excretory organs in animals. Nephridia extended water and exclamatory substances. Major excretory products in earthworms. Earthworms is oristelic. Nephridia has an example animals. Nephridia are the excretory organs present in annelids such as earthworms, flatworms, cephalochordata, Rotifers contain photonephidia or flame cells for morgulation. And this is the example of excretory or nephridial system of earthworm.
Annelida reproduction. Annelida reproduction can be accomplished a number of ways, including both sexual and asexual methods of reproduction. Methods of reproduction in annelids vary according to species. Some species of annelids are monoecious or hermaphroditic and produce both male and female gametes, sex cells including egg and sperm. Other species are dioecious and have male and female members. Another factor that depends on the species is whether annelids lay eggs or birth live offspring. Most members of this animal phylum are egg layers. While most worms do have both male and female reproductive organs, it is a common misconception that annelid worms are asexual. Most annelids reproduce sexually, some have separate sexes with external fertilization. Earthworm reproduction. Earthworms pair up and exchange sperm for storage in special sacs. When eggs are ready for fertilization, the clitellum, band of specialized segments, secretes a mucus ring with the sperm and eggs. When eggs are fertilized in the ring, it slips off and forms a protective cocoon. Eggs hatch a week later. Earthworms can be hermaphroditic. Some have separate sexes. They reproduce sexually, they mate together and fertilize each other's eggs. A tube of mucus makes an egg case which lifts off the worm's body, hatch onto soil.
Annelida locomotion. Annelid locomotion structures vary greatly depending on the class and environment of an annelid. It is important to remember that not all annelids are mobile. So how do annelids move? They have three main forms of locomotion. First, swimming. Second, crawling. And the last is burrowing. Setae and parapodia are locomotory structures in annelids. Annelids living in aquatic environment, mostly polychaetes, swim using their parapodia paddle-shaped appendages. Annelids crawl and burrow using peristalsis movement formed by elongating and contracting longitudinal muscle. The Setae Brazil hairs gave the annelid traction during the wave-like peristalsis crawling and burrowing movements. The fluid of the coelom aids in muscular movement by forming a rigid structure that the muscles can push and pull off. Leech terrestrial locomotion is similar to the peristalsis discussed above. However, leeches use their anterior and posterior suckers to provide traction. Locomotion in annelids is carried by three agents: locomotor structure, body musculatures, hydrostatic skeleton. In different annelidian species, locomotion is not caused by any individual locomotory agent, but it is the resultant outcome of a coordinated effort of all those three agencies. This is the earthworm locomotion diagram.
Here are the classifications of phylum Annelida: Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, Herodinea, and Archaeannelida. Here are the characteristics of polychaete. The body is elongated and divided into segments. They are found in the marine environment. These are atrucoallimates, bilaterally symmetrical worms. They excrete to metanephridia and protonephridia. Fertilization is external. They have a well-developed nervous system. The circulatory system is a closed type. They are hermaphrodites. They might possess fin-like appendages called parapodia. The organisms belonging to this group lack clitellium and are dioecious. Here are some examples of polychaete: Babbitt worm, Hades T, Nereis, Neradidae, Ampenomidae, Serpolidae, Sabellidae, lagworm, Raftia pachyptala, Erantia, Polynoidae, Ichura, sea mouse, and Sedentria. Here are the characteristics of Oligochaeta. They are mostly freshwater and terrestrial organisms. The body is segmented metamerically. Head, eyes, and tentacles are not distinct. They are hermaphrodites, but cross-fertilization takes place. Fertilization is external. Cocoon formation occurs. Setae are segmented. They do not possess parapodia but cytellum is present. The organisms belong to this class are monoecious. They exhibit no free larval stage and the development takes place inside the cocoons. Here are the examples of Oligochaeta: earthworm, Haplotacids, Inchytridae, California blackworm, and Lumbricolidae. Here are the characteristics of Herodinea. Most commonly found in fresh water, some are marine, terrestrial, and parasitic. The body is segmented. The tentacles, parapodia, and setae are not present. The animals are monoecious. The body is dorsoventrally or cylindrically flattened. They have an anterior and posterior sucker on the ventral side. The organism lay eggs in cocoons. There is no larval stage during the development of the organism. The mouth is located ventrally in the anterior sucker while the anus is present dorsally in the posterior sucker. Fertilization is internal. The example of Herodinea is leech. Here are the characteristics of Annelida. They are found only in the marine environment. The body is elongated without setae and parapodia. They are unisexual and hermaphrodite. Tentacles are present on the prostomium. Here are the examples of Annelidae, Polygorgius and Protodrelus. And that ends the presentation of Group 5. Thank you.